Hey guys, checking in with the second update, and thankfully this one is a positive one. So we are on the scoreboard. We've got recurring revenue locked in before we even stood up the website. I will break down how I've done that, what it means, why I'm so stoked about it, even though it's relatively a small amount. So it was an existing client of my previous business. It was the one I talked about in the last video that I thought I screwed up the call, but as I had suspected in that video, the product and the delivery of the product basically carried me. That's where all of my effort went, and it sort of sold itself, which I'm very happy about. I've obviously been working on the branding for this new business that I'm building on this channel and the website, but having had no true market validation other than knowing in my head this isn't a new thing, this is going to work, having flipped from that to actually here's a client who's offered money on a recurring basis to pay for this, that just ticks a major box. That's as good a validation as you can get. To have revenue in the door, I had the warm lead, I had the opportunity to try and flip that one, but nonetheless it's a major breakthrough because the previous engagement with this client was me selling my time, fixed deliverables. It was a project, a custom project, whereas now I've built something. I developed it over the last couple of months, and with the intention of this is going to be revolutionary and it's going to be something that can be sold at scale. And this is the first live sale, live test. It's held up. So really happy. We're on the scoreboard, roughly $1,000. Going to need $1,000 recurring. So we're going to need a few more of these for sure, but it was a big moment and it hit me really. I recorded a video on my phone, which will probably go up on this channel separately, like at the moment when it actually happened, but it hit pretty hard because it was like, wow, man, like I've been putting in all this front load effort, would have been hundreds of hours to develop this product, which is going to be one of the pillars of this new business I'm going to sell. And obviously I had no idea whether it would sell, what I'd be able to sell it for. I knew that from my previous experience, I've got a pretty intricate understanding of what goes on in the industry, what businesses need, and what sort of problems founders are facing. And so I built around that with my working knowledge. So that's the update. And I suppose a key lesson, something that I will share that I've learned the hard way, is if you're starting a business for the first time, you've got to go back to core principles. You should go to where there's already smoking hot demand in the market. You should not be trying to invent some niche new tool, something that might be highly innovative that isn't tested, that you're going to have to educate potential prospects on. Here's this new problem that you might have and here's how I can solve it. You don't want that. That's absolutely the last thing you want. You should be looking at the arena going, wow, there's a few established competitors in here all fighting aggressively. That's not actually a red flag. That means that money is flowing like a river. And you don't need to go in and totally outcompete all of the existing participants in the market. You just need to funnel off a bit of attention into your own pipeline, just a little bit in a hot market that will get you a win. So really that's ultimately what I'm trying to do here. The bar to succeed with this business is not extremely high. Like we've validated people will pay at very, very small scale effectively. I haven't even done any outbound whatsoever because I have to stand up some sort of front end and present the offer to the world. So what you want to do is you want to focus on your packaging rather than trying to invent a new thing. Look at what the competitors are doing. Is this even a good business model? How can this be delivered in a way that's slightly better or more innovative, gets a better result for the client or at a better price? And then you work from there. You don't go trying to find some unicorn idea. It's not the right way to start. And I guess I can give an example of where I made that mistake. A couple of years ago, I think it was 2023, me and my brother and a friend everyone seemed to be making massive amounts of money in e-commerce. Scaling e-commerce stores was the trend at the time. And I dabbled in the past and had some success selling on platforms like eBay and TradeMe in New Zealand. And I had a crack at Shopify, spun up a few different stores, and was just overconfident. And with the boys, we developed a company. We'd modeled off another business that was already successful, and just winging it, we got 1,000 units of product developed before we'd sold or validated any sort of demand, just on the whole basis of like, we'll be able to sell these somehow, build and they will come. It took the whole process. You spend thousands of dollars up front, and we didn't have heaps of money at the time. Like we were broke. So I think we spent about 8,000 Australian dollars buying the stock And it took, obviously there's a lead time getting stock in from China, designing and developing the products. Like the whole process took like 4 months. The shit turned up and then we were like, shit, what are we going to do with all of this? How do we sell it? And it sounds so stupid to me to say this now, but we literally did that. We ordered 1,000 units of a product that had no brand, no social media. It turned up at our apartment and we were like, okay, let's start doing paid ads. And it was absolutely brutal. It was a very expensive lesson. Like, did we get sales? Yes, well, we could get sales. I put my credit card on the paid ads and just burned thousands of dollars. It was running slightly worse than break even on product costs. So it was just a total disaster. So I suppose there's a huge lesson in that, right? And the lesson is sell before you have the product, before you have the service. You don't go into a cave and build some refined idea that you've got in your head that isn't already working in the market. You stand up the minimum viable infrastructure to go live, a simple landing page, and you start doing outbound and you pre-sell. And in 2025, I feel like this is how you do it. It's evolved from maybe 15 years ago, the right thing to do was to go into a cave and build for 6 to 9 months and then launch your MVP with a whole bunch of fireworks. In 2025, honestly, you got no money, you want to get started, the best thing to do is get ChatGPT or some other AI tool to help you build a website in a couple of hours at the maximum and design a simple sort of cold outreach system and start doing outreach to your ideal customers for whatever service you're selling and try and get some money in the door. That is the lesson. Revenue first, everything else is vanity. Like wasting time and mental cycles on naming, branding, building out a big fancy website with all this gibberish on it. No one cares. It's like, can you solve the problem? If you can solve the problem, then great, here's my money. I don't want to deal with it. That's what I've learned. That's how it actually works. And if someone had told me that a couple of years ago before we went into e-commerce, would have saved tens of thousands of dollars. But more importantly, all the wasted time and energy spent on that would have all been saved. So I suppose if anyone watching this is thinking of starting for the first time, that is one true lesson from the trenches that I would have loved to have had. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is naming, sort of related to not wasting time. From where I am right now, we've just ticked off revenue. I need to get this thing stood up and I need to crank up outbound and sign some more clients. That is the top priority. And then obviously deliver a great result for those clients, onboard a delivery team to help me meet demand as we scale outbound and refine the delivery model so that it's delivering a really great result and we get inbound referrals and things like that. So that's where all of my focus needs to go. I was on my 3rd day of trying to name this thing and I really wanted a .com because I'm going to start with the Australian and New Zealand markets. I intend to relocate to Dubai and scale this thing more globally. So anything that wasn't a .com was going to result in a point in the future where I outgrew it if I put it on a local domain. So I had to find one, and also with a limited budget, it was just a horrible exercise of basically swimming uphill through a garbage infested river. So I've just decided to run with the best one I had on the list, or not even the best, the most suitable, which is literally Infraxis. So the financial infrastructure that founders scale on, that's what we're going to run with. It's not perfect. I am not even honestly convinced that I like it yet, but I've also learned this lesson from in the past. This failed Shopify store, another lesson from it. I think we wasted a whole week or maybe longer trying to name this thing that literally got like 20 sales, and then we shut it down. And we refunded all the customers too because we were running some promo that we couldn't fulfill. So there you go. A whole week of my life gone naming that piece of shit. Don't do it, bro. Just literally minimum viable, run with it. The way I'm thinking about this is like the .com river got mined many years ago. There's only sludge left. As long as it doesn't add drag to my brand, it's okay. I'm just going to have to run with it. Maybe in some future state when I can afford a premium domain and drop 5 figures on it, then we may rebrand, but it probably won't be necessary by that point. And there's one other thing just before we close out that. So when I was burning these mental loops and I was getting so frustrated, it's the most painful type of work. I'm yet to find something that I despise more. I called my brother up to ask him basically for his input, and he told me the name Infraxis sounds like an extraterrestrial that eats octopus sludge, or perhaps like a rare new type of bowel cancer. And I was like, thanks bro, that's fucking exactly what I wanted to hear. he is a comedian, so we'll take what he says with a grain of salt, but also from my optimistic, positive mindset, that could be the point of differentiation. I don't want to just sound like another generic accounting firm in the sea of sludge and competition that's already out there. So given what we're doing is packaging something in a unique way, I think it's okay. I'm going to run with it. I mean, unless we end up changing it in the next couple of weeks before it goes live. I suppose technically that's still possible, but I bought the domain, and at this point I've got too much other crap that I need to be focusing on to burn any more cycles on that. So that's it for this update. It's currently Wednesday the 17th September. I will be probably only doing one more from this bedroom. We are about to head down to Colombia, so probably one more, and then I'll see you guys on the other side.